But today's story is incredibly sad. So today I have another family involved true crime story. So let's get right into Alexis's story.
Hi, my name is Monica. I have 4 daughters. This is Mariah, she's 18, and this is Alyssa, she's 15.
So Alexis Patino was 22 years old at the time, and she was born in the San Fernando Valley area and raised in Hemet, California. She was the oldest daughter of 4 girls.
Alexis was an amazing sister. Unfortunately, around the last several weeks of Alexis's life, thinking back on it, it started to really fall apart.
Now, this is where I don't have a whole lot of detail, but Alexis had a boyfriend. Alexis met him about a year or year and a half prior through a friend. And many of her friends that had met him said that he could be a little bit controlling and was very jealous. And 6 months into their relationship, her boyfriend actually moved to New York, and they kept a long distance relationship. But shortly after he returned, they decided to move in together. And this was about a year and 2 months of being together.
She moved out several months prior to her passing. We promised to see each other all the time and meet up for dinner once a week. That really didn't happen. She just became so distant. Her friends saw less of her. Not that they didn't care to be around her, but they just didn't care for her boyfriend's attitude and negativity. And that's really heartbreaking for me to reflect back on that, because like the last 2 weeks of her life, I probably saw her twice. And coming from a really close family, having that bond break is just really heart-wrenching.
And it affected us all in different ways. It affected my mom so much, like the moment she moved out. And the fact that it was with this man who she did not approve of. And me, I always just try to be like, Mom, like let her move on, you know, like I would always try to be there for Alexis. But in a way, I did see it deep down. The relationship wasn't right.
So Alexis met her boyfriend through a mutual friend of theirs. And I can see the way he was kind of pressuring her, like asking her questions and pulling on her. I had already got a feel for him, and it wasn't a good feeling. I did my best to give him the opportunity to prove himself. I noticed bruises on Alexis, so that's really when I started to get concerned and notice little things here and there. So the day before Alexis passed, it was a Sunday. It had been at least a good 5 days since I had seen Alexis. I remember getting a call from her, and she was asking me where I was, and she was gonna come stop by the house. Going through some things that day with her boyfriend. They were supposed to meet up and they weren't. That she ended up kind of canceling out her plans with me because she was waiting on him. And little did I know that that would be our last conversation. Don't worry, Mom, I don't work all day tomorrow. I'll come hang out with you. And she sent me the little angel emoji.
So on the night of November 19th of 2017, Alexis and her boyfriend were at the Tilted Kilt. One of Alexis's friends actually worked there and was her waitress that evening. Now, a lot of these details cannot be confirmed, but people have said that she was possibly in an argument with him at dinner. Now, apparently, while they were arguing, her boyfriend got upset and left the restaurant about an hour before Alexis left. And after leaving the Tilted Kilt, when she got to her apartment, she made a few calls to friends and one of her sisters.
Alexis had called me the night before she had passed away. I answered the phone, I picked it up, and I heard some sniffling, and I said, hello, Alexis, hello, and there was no answer, and then it declined. I called and she didn't answer, and then she finally called me back, and then she's like, oh, I just got home. I was like, where's your boyfriend? She was like, oh, I don't know, he's out, he's annoying, or this and that.
Her last phone call of the night was at 11:13 p.m. when she called her boyfriend. Cell phone records show that they talked for about 2 minutes. Now, it wasn't until like 2:30 or 3 a.m. when her boyfriend decided to come home. And when he got there, he claims that he was not able to get into the apartment, that it was locked. And he did have a key because they did live together, but he indicated that she had locked probably like the deadbolt that he wasn't able to unlock with a key from the outside. So he continued to knock on the door, but there was no answer. So he ended up calling the police and telling them that he was locked out of his apartment. So the police came and knocked on the door and no one answered. Her boyfriend said that he would just sleep in the car that night. Now, we're not sure if the police actually checked to see if the building was unlocked or not. That would have determined a lot. So her boyfriend claims that that he slept in the car for a few hours, and at 6:49 the next morning he woke up and he found a way to get in the house through the kitchen window. Now, what's interesting is they were 3 stories up. The kitchen window was not attached to the balcony, so he indicated that he had to actually step on the railing and like lean way far over to get to the window. And that's where he found Alexis laying on the floor, completely unresponsive. He said that she was not breathing and he believed that she had killed herself. So deputies arrived at 6:57 a.m. and she was found with one single wound to her abdomen.
When I woke up, I seen that I had a text message from her boyfriend. When was the last time you spoke with Alexis? And just the way the question was asked, I right away jumped up and got really concerned, and I called Alexis' phone. At that moment, he answered and was really distraught and told me that he had just found Alexis lying down with coming out of her mouth. And I right away asked him if she was breathing. He said no. I said, did you dial 911? He said yes. When I got there, I saw yellow tape up. There was one sheriff there. We were there for probably about 8 hours, and detectives started showing up.
Now, the boyfriend did not attempt CPR or anything. He actually said he didn't touch her at all. But around that morning at 11:20 a.m., her boyfriend was arrested for with malice, but due to lack of evidence, her boyfriend was released the next day. Now, he did have an alibi because he was at a casino before he came home. So he did have proof that he was there, and they got home at 3. But no one has any idea what he did from 3 to 6:50. Now, despite not having any answers, her family has really ruled out suicide. Her family said it was just not in her character, and they don't believe she would ever herself. She didn't have any medical history, she didn't take any medication, never showed any sign of serious depression.
Suicide was never a thought, never.
Now, what's interesting is the police did end up saying that they do not believe it was suicide after getting statements from family and friends. Now, 2 of her friends disclosed to police about the boyfriend's somewhat abusive behavior before she died, how he was controlling, acted jealous, how they would fight. One of her friends said that at one point Alexis even had a bump on her head and asked if she could stay at her place for a while. And several of her friends ended up actually calling police and telling them about things that they knew about her relationship. So an autopsy was performed the following day, and the coroner ruled the death as undetermined. Now, the autopsy did show over 9 different bruises, scrapes, abrasions. There was even a laceration to her chin and 2 above her eyebrow. Her family was just devastated, as you can imagine. So a memorial service was held for Alexis on Friday, December 1st, 2017 at the Miller Jones Mortuary. Now, it is still unknown what happened to Alexis, but one thing is for sure, this girl deserves justice. Her family deserves to know the truth about what really happened to her. Now, obviously, suicide by wound is one of the least common ways to commit suicide. According to a study in 2012, only 1.6 to 3%, so that raises question even more about what really happened. Alexis had a lot of friends, a lot of people really looked up to her. She was a beautiful person inside and out. Now, there is a possibility that she could have had a stalker. At the end of the day, we don't know that Alexis's boyfriend did this to her. It is possible that maybe she had some type of stalker. I mean, she was so pretty, and she was at Tilted Kilt. Someone could have followed her home, although I do think there would be a bit more evidence. So it's very confusing. Alexis was said to make friends with pretty much anyone that she came across and could get along with anybody. She was said to have a way about her that made people feel like she knew them for years, like she was just so comfortable with people that she had just met. And after high school, she started working at a Starbucks, and she eventually got associate's degrees in math and science at Mount San Jacinto Community College. And it had also been recently accepted to Arizona State University. And she actually wanted to become a nurse. She really wanted to help people. 2 weeks prior to her death, she had just started a job working at a local elementary school. She was like an after-school coordinator, so she was doing Starbucks at the same time as well.
Alexis loved her job at Starbucks, and she really just loved everything that she set her mind to. Otherwise, she just wouldn't do it. That was just her.
And was also described as being very smart, bright, and super ambitious. Everything that she set her mind to, she would do. She was on the cheer team, she was in honors classes, so she was very busy and very active, very smart, and really social.
From the very beginning, she was a go-getter. No matter where we were, we would always just keep ourselves entertained and play.
Alexis was just like always there. She was always like my second mom. She was literally my hero. Literally everything she could do, I knew that I could do, because if she did it, I could do it.
We would always make fun of each other. There would be days where I pretend I was sick and I wouldn't go to school, and she'd be like, what are you doing home? And we'd go to Starbucks. We'd go to eat. One of the things that I miss about Alexis is her affection. Alexis was very, very affectionate. It was so funny. We'd all be in the house, and I swear when Alexis came home, it was like a star just walked in the door. Like, oh, Alexis is home.
I miss Alexis so much. I miss us in general, just all of us together being a family again. I'll always feel this empty piece in my heart because she's no longer with us. I miss us laughing and singing in the car forever. I miss just sleeping in the bed with her. You know, I would always sleep with her sometimes. We have each other, and now that she's gone, it just feels broken. It's not something we like to admit because I know we still have each other, but it's like it's never going to be the same. It breaks my heart that we can never see her in 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. She's gone, and that's that.
I miss Alexis. I miss her hugs and everything she did, her presence, her laugh. Everything about her I miss because she was just an amazing person.
I miss her laugh, and honestly all of my other sisters are kind of like her, but not exactly the same.
What I would really like for everyone to remember about Alexis is she was an amazing, beautiful, talented young girl with a whole lot of life ahead of her. She didn't deserve to be found dead the way she was. Like, she didn't deserve it at all.
I want people to just remember her as she was, because she was perfect.
To us,
she was our angel. I just miss her so much, and it's just hard for me to even say how I want people to remember her, you know, because I'm still hoping to see her come through that door one day. I know that she meant a lot to a lot of people because she was such a beautiful soul, but I want people to fight with us because Alexis is gone and she's not here. She doesn't have a voice anymore. She can't stand here and say what happened. We can only fight for her because we are the ones who are suffering every single day without her. And how are we supposed to move on when we don't have any answers? How am I supposed to continue moving forward in my life with nothing? I'm not okay with accidental death. This is not something to be like, I don't know about it and move on. This is a life, a beautiful life that is gone.
And we have no answers. We don't know what happened to Alexis. That is why we're reaching out to everybody, because somebody may know something and they may not even know it. We just need answers, and she deserves the justice. We'd also like to raise some awareness. If you know someone that is in a bad relationship or it's toxic, please be that voice. Please notify someone. There's so many hotlines and numbers that people can call to reach out to get the help that they need and deserve before something like this happens.
I so appreciate you guys. Every time I do these videos, the amount of love that is sent to the person that I'm doing the video for is amazing, and I'm really grateful. It's something so cool that we can do this and, you know, create this community where we lift other people up, and I think it's really awesome. So I hope to do more cases like this in the future.